This is the site of a pre-Revolutionary War battle, which unfortunately pitted two groups of North Carolinians against each other. We had approximately 1,000 militia troops under the command of Royal Governor Tryon, who opposed somewhere around 2,000 backcountry farmers called regulators, in a 2-hour battle that occurred on Thursday, May 16th in 1771. These regulators, or backcountry farmers, were people who had come into North Carolina from Pennsylvania and who were coming north from South Carolina to settle on land in this part of the colony. And they were coming here because the land was good for farming, and they were looking for a better way of life. Once these folks became settled, they quickly learned that they were going to have to contend with dishonest and corrupt government officials. Sheriffs, clerks of courts, registers of deeds, and other government officials were normally appointed to the positions and were not elected by the citizens themselves. And this was a problem. And a bigger problem even was the fact that none of these officials were paid salaries, but the law did allow them to keep so much of their money they collected as payment. So you can imagine that where greed could come into the picture and cause a lot of serious problems, and that's what happened. Things came to a boiling point in 1771. Governor Tryon, being under a lot of pressure, felt that he had to restore law and order in the colony, and that's why he ordered the militia to muster. And he would eventually set up camp on the banks of Alamance Creek, which is about 5 miles north of the battleground now. In the meantime, he had learned that there were 2,000 regulars encamped actually on the site itself. Now, Tryon made several attempts to prevent any blood from being shed by coming up with some terms that were never really acceptable to these regulators. And you have to understand how the regulators were thinking too. They did not come here to fight a battle, but they were here in a sense to protest. They wanted to show Governor Tryon that they were not going to be easily pushed around. Governor Tryon made another attempt on Thursday, which would turn May 16th, which would turn out to be the day of the battle, by sending terms through the Sheriff of Orange County, hoping that the regulars on this occasion would accept them. But with these terms on this occasion, he also sent a warning, and that warning was that if they did not accept those terms, he was in the process of moving his men into this direction, or into the direction of the regular campsite, and he would order them to fire. So he sent a warning. But the regulators, not thinking maybe clearly about the situation, decided once again to answer in the negative. So they responded by simply saying, "Fire and be damned." And that is the word that Governor Tryon would receive from the Sheriff of Orange County. And right at the very beginning, it looked like maybe the regulators were going to be correct in their first assumption that nothing would happen. And of course, that angered Governor Tryon as well. So they say at that point he rose up on his horse and ordered his men to fire on him or the regulators. He gave them an ultimatum. And they did fire into the direction of the regulators, and the Battle of Alamance was officially underway around 12 o'clock on that day. The Battle of Alamance was won by Governor Tryon and the militia, who were better organized and better prepared than the regulators.
We're at Cowpens National Battlefield, which